This is Talking Bullish, the new Bradford Bulls podcast. With your hosts, Alan Raisin and Laura Micklefield.
This week we're talking about the great win we had at Widnes. We've got lots of news to cover before we look forward to another Friday night fever against Halifax.
Yeah, Brill. Well, I just want to start this podcast by saying a big thank you to all the listeners. We seem to have had a big influx this week of people listening on YouTube especially and interacting with our social media channels and such. Even had a little follow on Instagram from a player, which was brilliant. So yeah, thank you so much. It's nice to know that people are enjoying it and more people are tuning in to listen.
Yeah, it's great. Definitely second that. And make sure you keep telling all your friends to follow and listen to us as well. And we go into the game now that we had on Sunday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there because I was travelling, but I caught up at half-time and full-time with the score. Laura, it was quite the thriller, yeah?
Yeah, definitely quite the thriller. I think it was one I couldn't make it either, but I did listen on the West Yorkshire Rugby League radio. Brilliant commentary as always, and tried to follow the match on X as well. But I have now watched the full match replay, so I feel like I have seen it, even though I didn't see it live. But yeah, it was one of those where I think we kind of slipped back into a few bad habits for the start. But then obviously as the match went on, we got into the swing of things and we saw that Bradford that we saw at against Oldham, last time out. So it started off, like I say, a bit of kind of I say a weak defence, but I suppose it's one of those where it was just good play from Widnes as well. Try 4 minutes in, nice pass over to get them, and that was converted as well. So 6-0 straight away. But we did manage to get back into it. It's a brilliant try. Watched it on the playback and on the full match. It was Tom getting us back in it. It was a brilliant break from Hooley, and the Widnes defence then was kind of obviously not set for the next play. Tom takes advantage of that, fast feet through the line, and straight at the side of the post and converted it to make it 6-6.
But then on 20 minutes, there's more soft defence, seeing another Widnes score and again converted, making it 12-6.
Yeah, and then following that up, we gave away a penalty from a high tackle as well. And the Widnes opted for 2, which probably was a sensible thing, I think, for them to do. But it got them, obviously, more than a converted try ahead. So it got them up to 14-6 at that point.
And then we get Ock getting us back into it just before half-time, having warmed up a bit maybe. Hooley with a lovely assist to send Ock over the line. But unfortunately, conversion missed.
Yeah, that was a try that I did watch on the replay, and it does look like Hooley was taken out way late after that, and it did look like a shoulder charge as well from what I saw, but I think it was totally missed by the referee, and nothing seemed to come of that. So we ended at half time on 14-10. I thought a bit of a kind of scrappy first half, not kind of into the swing of things that we were seeing from Bradford last week, more kind of like the Bradford we've been talking about in previous weeks, I suppose, a bit just not firing on all cylinders, but was hopeful that we'd maybe come out and change things at half time.
Yeah, no, our group chat was a bit worried about our chances in the second half. But definitely only being 4 points behind, everything still to play for.
Yeah, I think it was one of those where, like I say, I've always got a worry about Widnes anyway. And I know, obviously, we broke the hoodoo last time against Widnes, but there's always the thing about playing them at theirs as well. Because, I think the record, like I say, we've won, well, now we've won again, but the last, I think it was twice in 13 years or something silly like that. So it's not the place we usually go and win. So I was going kind of in behind at the half time. I did feel a bit nervous, but luckily we started the second half really well. I thought we were better, more aggressive defence. And then again, lovely like Hooley again, just slicing through the defence, and a lovely pass to Fulton, and a try getting converted to make it 16-14. So it was, like, say, 5 minutes into the second half, and things were looking more positive.
And then, but then unfortunately, we give away a penalty, and again, Widnes take the 2, bringing it level again.
Yeah, it's at 16-all. It was definitely nervy at this stage. I know that, I was definitely feeling it, and I think everybody wasn't, judging by the social media on X as well. That seemed to kind of, everyone was feeling the same way at this point. I thought, oh, here we go again. Is it not going to go our way? But it kind of then went back and forth for a while at that point, and it took until I think just before 70 minutes or so that Blake came up with a massive play to like steal the ball 1-on-1, which I've seen on the replay, which was brilliant. Obviously, resulting from that, we got another set up near Widnes line, and on that same set, again, Hooley, he was having a blinder of a match this week. Slices through the defence yet again, and then he converts the try as well to make it 22-16 at that point, feeling a lot more comfortable. But we obviously know that anything can happen in these matches. 78 minutes, 2 minutes before the finish, Ock seals it with a lovely intercept and a race down the field to score. Full time 28-16. What were your thoughts on the game, Alan?
Well, obviously, I was disappointed because I'd predicted a 6-point win for the Bulls, and it ended up being 12 points. So, we can't have everything. But no, absolutely a great win. Getting obviously at the business end of the season now. So every win's very important, and given that we weren't sure how it was going to go at half time, it's really good to see a good display in the second half. Yeah,
I definitely think we upped his game in the second half. I think it was one of those where kind of similar to how we've been before, where not too sure in the first half, thinking, how's this going to go? But we still really seemed to stay in it. It was just a matter of, obviously, the defence wasn't as great in the first half, but then in the second half, obviously, it was brilliant. So, it was a nervy one and very tense and anxious until those last 2 tries, and then obviously felt a lot better after that. I'm glad we kept him out in the second half, and I think we clicked in attack again. I think there were some great plays from like Holmes and Hooley yet again throughout the game to create, and I think as forwards we're really strong as well. And a lovely couple of tries from Mock as well. Really enjoyed it. Like I say, it's nicer when you feel a bit more comfortable and you're not sure, rather than not being sure of where it's going to go. But got the win in the end, the most important thing.
And can we now officially say that the Widnes Hoodoo is over, home and away?
Surely it is, yeah. I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that we keep this up now playing Widnes. I mean, I can understand it being quite difficult to play there, because when I'm looking like back on the replay of the match, the pitch, like being a 3G pitch or 5G pitch or 4G pitch, whatever you call them now, well, just fake grass. It looks difficult to, I know it's kind of fast playing and it's okay to run on, but it does look rough when they're in tackles onto the kind of hard ground. And I don't think any players particularly like playing on that ground. And maybe that's why it's reflecting with Widnes, where they've only had a couple of wins there. Maybe they don't even like playing on it.
Who was man of the match?
I'm not sure who was given man of the match. I would assume it would either be Tom or Hooley. I'd have probably gone for Hooley as my man of the match. He seemed to be instrumental in a lot of the plays, and obviously he was making quite a few breaks and creating quite a few things. I know the hitman was Sam Hallis, Super Sam. He did a brilliant job on his 150th Bulls appearance. So big congratulations to Sam. He's always been a favourite of mine, and I know he's a really passionate player, and he's always consistent and gives 100%.
Yeah, great. Well done, Sam.
Yeah, so Bulls news then. Speculation of a couple of top championship sides after Hooley's signature for 2026. I know from obviously what's kind of been said around and about that hopefully Bulls are one of those trying to chase Hooley's signature. And I know obviously when you see all the social media, fans do want that. And I know I'd certainly certainly be happy with Hooley's signature for 2026. But it sounds like
definitely.
there's some other top championship sides that maybe could be Super League, judging by the news we'll come to in a minute, next season, that are after his signature as well.
Yeah, well, let's hope he does decide to stay in Bradford. But yeah, as you say there's this week there's been a lot of talk about Super League 26. Started the week, there was an interview with Nigel Wood on the Sky Sports Rugby podcast talking about that. But the actual announcement came, was it on Tuesday, I think?
I think it was Tuesday, yeah.
They've backed a 14-team Super League for 2026, which I had read they weren't going to be going ahead with because it was too soon. But where will the Bulls be? Yeah,
a really interesting one, this. It's strange in that I know there's obviously a lot of talk about things at the minute. You see a lot on social media and a lot of unhappy people. But I do kind of understand in a way that it's strange that they're judging the first 12 teams on IMG grading, but then the extra 2 teams will then be decided on a different grading system, which isn't really clear what that grading system is yet, which to me is confusing. In my opinion, it should be the teams that obviously perform better this season in Championship that go up, obviously, to perform in Super League. But in the same thing, I know that we've had it before where there was a space left in Super League. I think it was when Toronto Wolfpack folded, and they used a kind of set criteria to decide who would go up, and Lee, Centurions they were at the time, or they might have changed to Leopards, I'm not sure, were chosen and went up. So I don't know if they're going to use something similar to that criteria. And it was kind of heavily performance based, I think, like to see where you'd kind of been in the Championship in the last 3 seasons or something like that. So that could be the way that they're doing it. But it's just a bit baffling that they're kind of using 2 methods. And obviously there's a lot of chatter on social media as to why that is. And a lot of it is obviously very negative towards Bradford. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Alan?
Well, I mean, we've discussed this before, and, I think we share the opinion that on-field performance is the only metric that counts, really, when you're grading, sports teams. On that basis, we'll probably be looking at, Toulouse and York maybe at the end of the season, and maybe Bradford could squeeze into that. Of course, there's the added complication of the financial position of Salford. So, maybe Bradford could squeeze in in a 3rd place. But I mean, do you think it's like now or never for Bradford to get into Super League? What could possibly happen after these years?
I think that's the thing we're still not overly clear on. I mean, there's not been much clarification about it. Does it mean that there's kind of promotion and relegation back? Is it like a shut door as soon as these 14 are in? Or is it that you keep working towards IMG gradings and that can decide that people will go down or come up? I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's a strange one. Look, I've always said, obviously, I'd love Bradford to be in Super League. As a Bradford fan, you're going to. But I would love Bradford to be in Super League because we've earned the right to be in Super League, not because of kind of any sort of, or you've ticked certain boxes to get up there. But having said that, like looking at the things online, there's so much negativity towards Bradford. Like even like I've seen people saying I'm going to stop watching rugby because of it, and it's Bradford like fraud Bulls and all this sort of thing, because it's like obviously assumed that this has all been put in place to get Bradford into Super League without them having to do anything. But it's one of those where I kind of feel like, well, what? Like I think other fans have asked this when I've seen kind of posts on social media. What if we do end up in top 2, or what if like the thing is, then are these fans still going to be like, oh, it's fraudulent. Bradford shouldn't be there. It should be another team over them. I mean, there's a lot of kind of anger towards Bradford getting back into Super League, but we are actually performing quite well. Like you say, we're 3rd in the table, 2 points behind 1st and 2nd. We've finished in top 3 for the last 2 seasons before that. So if you're looking at the last 3 seasons, like they did with the league criteria, for example, we've probably performed higher. I know Toulouse obviously will have done as well, but we've probably performed higher than York. Also, other things to consider. I know it's not the be all and end all, but I think we've spoken about this before, saying about fan base. And I know that obviously Super League clubs will probably like the fact that we'd bring more fans than other clubs. I'm not saying it's a detriment for the other clubs. And I know there's other things that they'd say about us, like the stadium is the one big thing that everybody says, but also like we've got an elite academy. Like if you look at kind of York, they don't at the moment. I think London had to scrap theirs and are trying to get back to one, even though like a lot of people argue for London to be promoted. Obviously Toulouse, there's always a kind of argument over if French teams should be in or not. It just seems a little bit unfair, but yet again I feel like as a Bradford fan we just get a lot of stick and it's not, I think the thing is, it's like it's not within the players' control who are playing in the team, and it's not within the fans' control to decide what happens at a higher level. And if that benefits Bradford or it doesn't, it's not actually Bradford Bulls' fault. That's kind of how I feel about it at the minute.
So going back, so I was mentioning about that podcast with Nigel Wood, and he had some interesting points about particularly the French team, saying that that was an experiment, and it was the success criteria were to grow the French game, and also provide a destination for people to come to, and it was sort of saying how the English clubs always send a large contingent over to the French clubs when they're playing away, but not so much the other way around. And I think he was a bit critical of that, really. And so obviously, like, as you say, the fan contingent, the travelling fans is a big important factor in the success of, the Super League. And so, surely Bradford do have a good chance. And I don't really know. Maybe I haven't been following Bradford long enough to understand why there's so much hatred towards them. But
yeah, it stems from like obviously the financial troubles that Bradford have had in the past, and obviously the administrations and liquidation and such, and the fact that Nigel Wood obviously came to kind of our saviour and put in like money in himself for the club, and then obviously he's gone back to the RFL, and everybody's like it's a conspiracy and it's for him to get Bradford back into Super League. Obviously that's just opinion of people. Whether that's true or not, it's not for me to comment on, but the thing I can comment on is, like I said before, it's not actually the players or the club or the fans' fault that happens. So such negativity towards those things just feels like a bit of a gut punch, because at the end of the day, let's say if Bradford do get back into Super League, and yes, I agree, I wish it was on merit. Like if you do get back into Super League, like we know that we have got a good fan base, like we will bring a lot of like fans to away games, like surely kind of other teams who are saying they're going to boycott it and not watch anymore and all this sort of thing. Why would you not enjoy that? Why would you not enjoy like more crowds? And it's a strange one. I mean, the French kind of thing for me, I've always had the opinion that I'm not saying we shouldn't expand rugby league. I'm all for expanding rugby league. I'd love it to be in every country, to be honest. But I've always found it baffling that French teams are in Super League. And I know a lot of people would say I'm close-minded for that. But in my opinion, I think it'd be better to kind of build a French league, obviously build a British league, and then have some sort of competition where you kind of cross them over, rather than just having some French teams in the British leagues, basically. But obviously, I think I'm in the minority with my opinion on that. What do you think, Alan?
Not my opinion, but like Nigel was also sort of saying how in rugby union that success is largely based around the international competition, whereas rugby league is obviously very much club focused. So whether or not it works, there's probably not enough teams in France to make a viable league, but in order to get some progress on that, I guess they have to be competing in our league for the time being. But yeah, really, the benefit will be when there is a strong rugby league in France, and we can have like local tournaments like they do between Australia and New Zealand. So I don't know. I think it doesn't help that the French sides are like a long way away as well. They're not northern France; they're like right down in the south of France. So it isn't exactly an easy trip. And I know they have to pay for the away teams' travel each time. So it must be difficult to run a French club as well. But as I say, like English clubs always send a good contingent down. So like really, it's up to the French teams to step up and try and promote it better, I guess.
I get what you're saying, Alan. I think it's like, I don't object to French teams being in. It's not that at all. It's probably like the points you're making. Like you say, that there isn't many fans coming from the French sides to when we're playing, and I totally get that as well. I mean, like I say, we're just making the one trip over to either Toulouse or Catalan. I know I've never done it. I'd love to, but obviously I've never done it because of cost implications. So if you're obviously a French fan in Toulouse, having to come over to watch every week apart from your home games, it's not really feasible to get over and watch, and I get that. So it's a difficult one. It's always been a controversial thing, and like you say, there's probably not enough teams to form a French league. But I suppose I just, as a rugby league fan in general, I wish there was, so that would be the answer. And I suppose there is no clear answer. But I suppose when it all boils down to it, whether you're a French team or a British team, I suppose, who should be in Super League? I think even if it's not based on merit, which I would prefer it to be, if it's going to be the IMG criteria, do that for everybody. I don't really understand this whole, we'll do IMG criteria for 12 and then pick 2 others. Well, I think all the excitement of speaking about the Super League changes from 12 to 14 has burnt out Alan's computer because we're doing this podcast over the internet today. So unfortunately, we've lost him for the rest of the podcast. But thankfully, we'd got through most of it anyway. Just unfortunately, this episode won't include an episode of Bull or No Bull because I don't think I can ask myself some questions. But you'll have to wait in anticipation for next week for that one. But yeah, as I was speaking about before, obviously we're on about the Super League expansion and who will get there. So let's kind of move on from that and get back to talking about the team we want to talk about on here, Bradford Bulls. So let's have a look to the match preview for Halifax. So it's another Friday night under the lights. I will be attending. So just before we started recording, the 21-man squad came out. It looks like the only change is that Lawrence comes back and Paposhi drops out. Obviously, Paposhi didn't feature last week, so it's just a matter of if Lawrence plays or not. My thoughts would be that if Lawrence does play, that it'd probably be Mason that would be dropped. But that's obviously just my opinion, so it'll be interesting to see what the match day squad is later in the week. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Halifax match. It should be brill. I always like the derby matches, and Halifax have been going well whilst they've been at Odsal, to be fair. I know they didn't quite get there with York, but they gave them a good test, and I know I think they've picked up a couple of wins. So yeah, I can't wait. It's I just hope that the Bulls can keep building momentum. I know, obviously, we didn't have the 80-minute performance we wanted against Widnes, but we still came out with a win, and I think the grit and obviously determination to do that shows a lot about what the team's about. And I just hope that we can get that 80-minute performance again like we did against Oldham, against Halifax on Friday. So, yeah, a couple of queries on the team just to have a think about. I know Tafua obviously was mentioned last week and wasn't playing. I think it was said on the actual match preview that he wasn't going to play. It'll be interesting to see that if he will be back this week, and if so, who for? My opinion, I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know how I would fit Tafua back in with the wingers we've got at the moment who are playing. So that'll be an interesting one. But I would like to see him back because obviously he's a big impact player. And my other question was about Doro staying with us, which by the 21-man squad, it seems he is. So that's good news. And I'm sure that other fans will be glad about that. I can see that there was a article from Hull today, Hull KR, or from their obviously local newspaper, kind of saying that he will feature again for Hull KR at some point this season, but not yet. So that bodes well for us. So hopefully we can keep hold of him for a while, because I feel like if we do lose Doro, we may struggle for forwards, with Fenton going back as well. I know a lot of people call for giving Wayne a chance, so options there, but I think that with Doro with us and Lawrence back in, we should be okay for this week. I feel like hopefully we'll keep the spine that we did for Oldham. I think it's clicking. I think it's working. And I think Hooley at fullback and Tom at halfback just seems to really be working at the minute. And it's good that obviously that Lily can slot into that hooker role, so he's not kind of missing out either. But obviously brilliant to have Suter as well as interchanging on. So I'm hopeful. I'm feeling positive. I know I'm usually very negative. I was positive last week and we came out with the win. So I'm hoping my positivity again will mean we will hopefully come out with the win. I really think we've got a really good chance to be kind of pushing towards top two at this point. I know that obviously Toulouse and York have got to play each other, and we've got to play Toulouse again. So I suppose they'll be the big matches that it comes down to, depending on what we can do up until then. So let's keep the faith that we will hopefully get the win on Friday and kick on with that. So thank you again for listening. As usual, if you can follow us on any social media platform, give us a listen on all your different podcasting software, or on YouTube, because I think that seems to be the one that people can get on most easily. But we appreciate everybody who listens and everyone who is following us on any social media. And as we say again, if you've got any comments or anything for us to include or to speak about, or if anyone would like to get involved with anything, just obviously drop us a message on any of the social media apps, and we'll get back to you. But so a bit of a different end to this podcast, and a shame that we didn't have Alan with us for the end of it. But I know he's listening, and cannot get back on. But hopefully next week he'll be back, and his internet will be staying strong for us, so we can have a full podcast with the game of Bull or No Bull. Maybe we can do a 2-for-1 next week. Maybe he can do 3 questions for me that I know he had prepared already, and I can do 3 for him. But thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week. And one final thing is, come on you Bulls, let's get the win on Friday.